Hey everybody, welcome back. Glad to have you here today to finish out our week, officially the Sunday show, our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Like I said, super glad, super happy that you could be here with me today, because one of my favorite things to do is honestly to open up this big Pages document that I'm opening up right now on my Mac laptop. And then I'm just scrolling to the next set of questions and being able to simply answer those for you today. They come directly from our community. They're unedited. And it's what people are suffering from. It's what they're dealing with. They want another opinion. They want to look beyond conventional medicine or whatever it is that they're doing right now. And I'm happy to provide that. I really am very grateful to be in the position that I'm in right now, to be able to share these podcasts with you. And simply having done this now for over 20 years and well over now 250,000 client appointments. So I just like to state that, of course, no one can give you medical advice over a podcast. A podcast is meant for education. It's meant to empower you. It's meant to help you look in a different spot. So no medical advice, no medical treatment plans, no medical cures or diagnosis. However, what we do is we look at those underlying root causes, and that's what I hope to share with you here today. All right, so let's get started. Let's look at the first question. We're scrolling past yesterday's questions. That was episode 2206. And if you want to follow along with today's questions, you can read them at stephencabral.com/2207. And while you're there, you may as well pick up a free copy of my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, if you haven't already. I pay for the book to be printed, costs about $7 or $8. You just pay for the shipping, and that is $7, I believe, or $7.95. So that's the deal. If you haven't read my book, I would love you to. Again, it's completely free. You just pay the shipping and handling. And that's that. All right, so Solina is up first. Solina says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm a female in my late 20s. I grew up running, and I love it. And I've had to stop because of hormone, low progesterone, and adrenal issues. I've worked with an IHP coach following a protocol of adrenal soothe, lower impact workouts, resistance, weights, walking, but I really miss running. For context, I like semi-long distance at 5 to 8 miles, but whenever I run even 2 to 3 miles, I get exhausted. Any suggestions on how to get back to running at least 1 to 2 times a week? It also helps me lose weight much more seamlessly than strength. Thank you." Yeah, this is a great question. So I'm sure, you're working with an IHP, which is great. Okay, so I have something called a graduated exercise program or protocol. And there's a podcast. You just can look up like the 4 phases of exercise it's called, or honestly, become an IHP level 1 yourself. And I walk you through this process. And what you want to do is it actually goes walking to cardio to body weight training to high intensity interval training or sprint interval training. So it seems to me you're not that far away. I think it's most likely your pace, which is intensity, and distance. I mean, honestly, I would have you out there running right now. I really would. And I would just find out, okay, well, what is your distance right now, right? So for example, everything I do in my practice is based on variables. And it's the only way you help people get well. There is a foundational protocol you have to start with. That's what your IHP gave you. And then it needs to be tweaked for Solina. So that's what we need to do. So, okay, even 2 to 3 miles. All right, so that means 2 to 3 miles is currently too much for you. Now, it won't be in the future, but right now it is. And it is what it is, it is what it is. So what do? We start with literally running for 8 to 10 minutes at a slow pace. Because all we're trying to do, Selena, is get your body used to this new stressor. That's it. We're just trying to get it used to a new stressor, and then eventually it will adapt as long as the thyroid and adrenals, for the most part, are where they should be, and that you're not doing it on an empty stomach in your case, because it's probably going to be too much stress for your nervous system. You'd probably be better off doing a run a couple hours after a meal. After breakfast, a couple hours later, or after lunch, a couple hours later. It's probably going to be best for you because it's going to be less stress on the nervous system because your body has some fuel, right? So that's where we're going to be looking. I really believe you'd be able to start now. I totally understand what you're saying with the weight loss and all that. I just think that you have to get started. If you already rebalanced your body, if you've run your Big Five, or if you run your starter kit with the stress hormones, mood, and metabolism test, you're going to see what your body needs. And, it could be magnesium, you're on the adrenal soothe. I think you're in the right place. Now just slowly work up. That's it. Now, the nice thing is this is how I worked up as well. I might have run for 5 minutes. That's it. And then I walked for 5 minutes. And then I ran for 5 minutes. And then I walked for 5 minutes. And that was my whole workout in the beginning as I was trying to strengthen my cardiovascular system. And I focused on breathing through my nose. Very, very important, not through your mouth. Check out my interviews on nasal breathing. And that's what I did. And then the next week I ran for 6 minutes, walked for 5. And I just kind of went up that way. And that's it. Then ran for 6 and walked for 5. And you just slowly work up. And then don't do it every day. Let's say you want to do it Monday and Thursdays, right? So you have 2 days off between each run. And so you could do weights, cardio, day off, weights, cardio, and then maybe you do weights again. And again, weights can be very taxing too. So you're getting close. I know you're getting close because if you're doing resistance training and your body's recovering from that, which creates actually a lot more inflammation, not in a bad way, but it does. It's a greater hermetic stressor. That's why it's number 3 in my protocols beyond cardio. Then you're doing great. And you might even be able to do some upright bike, for right now. Maybe that's less exhausting. All right. So again, find your level, don't do anything more than it, stay below it, and then gradually work up as you're healing your body. All right, Tina is up next. Hello, and thank you for everything you do for us. This year, I would like to go to a wellness retreat center somewhere in the United States that incorporates pretty much everything that you believe. Do you know of a place, or can you recommend a place to go to that can assist me in my health journey? Also, have you ever considered hosting a retreat a week or weekend? If you did, I definitely would attend. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is a great idea. So it's kind of funny. Everything comes full circle, right? So I did this for many years in a 2,500 square foot wellness center in Boston, Massachusetts, right on Berkeley Street in the Back Bay of Boston. That's because I owned my own wellness center there for about 6 years. And again, we would do like 20,000 appointments a year. It was great. We had Ayurvedic massage, different types of lymphatic massage. We had the rebounders. We had exercise, personal training sessions. We had nutrition sessions. Of course, I saw people in my office, did assessments, live blood and dried blood microscopy. It's fantastic, right? But I simply had a bigger vision. That's all that I wanted. It doesn't mean that that's not a great thing. It is a great thing. And that's why I never want to talk people out of that. But I wanted to share my message with more people. That was essentially the bottom line. And I'm happy with that decision. But having said that, it has been now 3 years since I didn't close it. I essentially sold that practice to a colleague of mine that had a smaller practice that could then enlarge their space. And so, because I always wanted to make sure that all of our Boston clients were still taken care of. That was always my goal. And I had 2 locations. So one sold the manager of the personal training nutrition studio, and the other to a colleague of mine that was a chiropractor. And that's because, again, I want to make sure that everyone is still taken care of. And then my goal was, again, to just try to reach more people. And now we're reaching over 1 million people a month on the Cabral concept. And it didn't happen overnight, that's for sure. But I'm not someone that's afraid of hard work. I like hard work. I like the challenge, and I believe in what we're doing. So now, having said that, we've accomplished this goal, which is great. And now I actually want to go back and hold some of these retreats. So look for that late 2022. You'll always be able to find updates at stephencabral.com. Just sign up for the newsletter. And I would also sign up for the EcoLife one as well, because we'll talk about it there. So yeah, for sure. All right. So that's that. You can go to stephencabral.com/text and just hop on that. But I would hop on the newsletters at that and EcoLife as well. I don't. I used to have a great Ayurvedic wellness center that I used to recommend in Lenox, Massachusetts, but they closed about 10 years ago. It's been. I mean, time flies. So there is no wellness center right now that I recommend. There's actually, there's some, but honestly, the price is outrageous. It's like this is not an exaggeration, $48,000 for this program. And then it does all of your testing. It takes you on a retreat. It's an outrageous price, right? It's just outrageous. So we're going to do it for a fraction of that. But just stay tuned. All in good time. But thank you for your interest. All right. Anonymous is up next. Hi, Dr. Ball. I've struggled many years with chronic constipation, trapped gas, and bloating. I've seen several specialists, in quotations, and received CT scans, x-rays, colonoscopies, etc., only to have them shrug their shoulders. During the imaging, doctors noticed several areas that appear to be scar tissue and always asked if I've been shot or had abdominal surgery, neither of which I have. Dietary interventions have helped with additional postprandial symptoms, which for everybody else, that means after you eat. But the symptoms prevail nonetheless. My question is with regard to abdominal adhesions or scar tissue without having had surgery. I understand this is common following intra-abdominal procedures, but I'm curious as to how it could happen on its own. Is it possible a result of spending years being constantly bloated or distended? For some context, I'm 27, work out daily, manage stress well day to day. I'm currently awaiting results from the complete gut bacteria and parasite test. Also been seeing a physical therapist for years that specializes in visceral manipulation and lymphatic flow, and they are certain the scar tissue is the culprit. Their treatments have helped, but not entirely resolved. Sorry for the lengthy discussion. I truly appreciate and value your response. All right, yes, let's get to the bottom of this. Okay. So one, abdominal adhesions could occur from chronic inflammation. Why? Chronic inflammation essentially breaks down the tissue, right? So you have tissue that is like an open wound inside of the intestines. As it heals, it could heal while adhering to other tissue. That's not uncommon. That can happen. I mean, that's how scar tissue heals, right? I mean, that's literally, I've got scar tissue in my body from all sorts of falls and scrapes and cuts, and that's, that's how it heals. It makes a thicker tissue. So there's two parts to this. I mean, this can be fixed, right? Again, I can't provide medical advice. I think the visceral manipulation is great. There's no way a therapist could tell you this is the culprit. They can't do that, right? But it's fine. I mean, maybe it is. Again, but we can't tell you that. Nobody can tell you that. Now, the thing is this. Keep doing your visceral manipulation, but also you completed the bacteria and parasite stool test. You definitely want to do that, so that's great. Ideally, you'll do the food sensitivity test as well, but that's up to you, even if you don't. You're most likely going to be doing the CBO protocol or the parasite protocol with the intestinal cleanse. It's going to contain the biofilm disruptors, which is going to contain the proteolytic enzymes that may help also break down some of this scar tissue. So this is going to be great. So again, I see this going very well for you over the next 4 to 6 months. Why? You're going to get your results. You're going to begin the parasite protocol, do the intestinal cleanse. If there's not parasites, okay, no problem. Citrocytal drops plus CVO protocol with the intestinal cleanse somewhere in there. It's going to combine everything you need to be able to rebalance the gut flora while the biofilm disruptors are going to be using proteolytic enzymes. This all happens behind the scenes. You don't need to know how any of this works. We've been doing this for many, many years. And then to rebalance the gut, continue with the visceral manipulation, continue working on opening up your posture, relaxing the body, and then just make sure that you're using something like the calming magnesium powder at night and the alkalizing vitamin C upon waking, the dose that works for you to keep the bowels moving. All right, so that's what I'm recommending. Pauline is up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I've had severe endometriosis before and had surgery to remove them, including 2 big chocolate cysts and a whole lot of adhesions in my pelvic region. Now, I even lost 1 tube and it looks like my other ovary is stuck to my uterus. It may be due to endo again or scarred tissues from the 2 surgeries. My other ovary has chocolate cysts again, found out after my second IVF procedure, which failed. I came across serapeptase as a supplement to clear blocked tubes. I'm wondering if this can help with adhesions and chocolate cysts too. Age is catching up on me and can't wait to be a mother. Have been trying for a few years without avail. I'm looking forward to your reply. Hopeful, Pauline. All right, Pauline, let's chat about this. Again, no medical advice, but happy to help. So there's a couple things we need to do. One is we should run the Big 5 labs. So that's the ideal thing to do because we want to look beyond chocolate cyst. Okay, so what's a chocolate cyst? A chocolate cyst is an interesting term to talk about a cyst. So through endometriosis, basically your doctor is diagnosing endometriosis. A chocolate cyst is a cyst filled with blood, typically older menstrual blood that is now formed into a cyst. So we have to be careful with ongoing surgeries that could cause more scar tissue, but again, that's not for me to provide medical advice on. Honestly, I would run the Big 5. I really would. And The reason is I want to look at what else is going on because we help women with all sorts of fertility issues. And yes, if you needed to use serapeptase, it could be something great. One of my most popular YouTube videos is on serapeptase, which is a proteolytic enzyme that I just shared with anonymous previous question to you. So the thing is, I don't want to look at this as like the single bullet. Everybody looks for like the silver bullet, single bullet approach, which is you do one thing and it fixes everything. I wouldn't rely on that. I would look at why the endometriosis in the first place, because we need to look at your insulin levels, your testosterone levels, your estrogen levels, your cortisol levels, your thyroid levels. Like we need to look at that, as well as your vitamin D. That comes on to stress hormones, mood, and metabolism. Then we need to look at gut issues. Is there inflammation that's being involved here? Because if not, serapeptase is not the only thing we need to do. Then we need to rebalance the gut. So Pauline, that's my highest recommendation, without a doubt. Big 5 Labs. It's helped many women, and I believe it could help you as well. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next question is this. Hi, Dr. Cabral. What do you think about earthing sheets? I live in a big city and can't really go barefoot on a daily basis or even walk. So sleeping on one of those sheets sounds like a great solution. Before investing in it, I want to hear your opinion because I trust your judgment, your knowledge greatly. Can't wait to hear your thoughts about it. Thank you, Sam. Sam, happy to help. Believe it or not, I have just the podcast for you. Let's go to StephenCabral.com. Let's click on the podcast navigation. Let's then scroll down to Conversations with Cabral on that little side tab. And let's type in earthing. Let's see what comes up. Oh, episode 1945, why grounding has the power to transform your life. And then on episode 1946, I just so happen to review an earthing pad that you can put on your bed as well as right on your chair. All right, episode 1945 and episode 1946 will give you your answers on earthing that I do believe in, and I give you the products I recommend. So, Sam, StephenCabral.com/1945, and then StephenCabral.com/1946. All right, it looks like, because we do 6 questions every single weekend, we've got one more question to go. And this one is from Sylvia. Sylvia says, okay. Hi, Dr. Cabral. First of all, thank you for the incredible podcast. I'm learning so much about my health. It's incredible. Thank you, Sylvia. And thank you to everyone for the kind words. I really do appreciate it. I don't often say it, but I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Secondly, I wanted to tell you that one positive thing that these difficult past 2 years have brought me is that I have more time to walk. My average step count for the last year has been a whopping 19,500, which is incredible. I've lost a huge amount of weight, but I feel amazing and I'm in the best shape of my life. Now that we are getting back to normal schedules, I won't be able to walk as much. So I'm a bit concerned that I'm going to gain weight and not feel as great. What do you think? How bad will it be to get back to a normal 10,000 steps? And how many steps should I try to take in order to keep my great results from the past 2 years? Thank you. You're amazing, Sylvia. Thank you, Sylvia. You're amazing. 19,500 steps. That is incredible, right? It's incredible. So here's the interesting thing. This is a great case study. Sylvia has already gotten the results she wants in body transformation and in terms of mind and mood and how she feels and looks and everything that goes together by doing 19,500 steps a day. Now, that's like double the steps that, we say is the recommended just average, right? So here's the thing. Sylvia has already found out what works for her. The problem is now that normal schedule's going back, et cetera, she's not able to do this. I would challenge you, Sylvia, to say, I want you to continue to do this because you have found what works for your body. Now, here's the thing. Doing about 10,000 steps a day, it's about an hour or so of hour and 10 minutes of walking every day. At least a third of that you're going to get on your own, so you're going to be able to get your normal 10,000 steps in. I would ask you, can you fit in another hour a day? It might seem like a lot of time, but can you make it happen by taking a walk maybe with the whole family after dinner or taking a walk while you're doing a call? One thing that I enjoy doing is actually hopping on a team call or a one-on-one and going for a walk. So I would challenge you to do the same. And one little hack, as they say, is that when you run, you're getting about 3x the amount of steps for the same amount of time. So a 20-minute run would probably net you the same as an hour walking. All right. So think about that. Could you, if you can't get in all the walking, could you get in a 20-minute jog? And if so, okay, well, there we go. We're not doing high intensity, still just, we're jogging, we're cardio based, but we're getting in those steps. All right, Sylvia, let me know how that works. Thank you everyone for tuning into today's show. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday.